This is the AM News. Let's start right from our election headquarters. And the Electoral Commission has set the end of week to dispatch biometric verification devices, that is the BVDs, to 8 more regions ahead of the elections. Distribution of electoral materials, especially ballot papers, to Northern, Bono and Bono East regions have experienced some delay since the EC began distribution of the materials 2 weeks ago. Briefing the National Election Security Task Force at the Electoral Commission headquarters on the EC's preparedness so far, EC Chairperson Jean Mensam has been providing timelines on when all outstanding matters will be resolved before special voting on December 2nd. James Aveji tells us more.
The National Election Security Task Force, led by the Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Akufo-Addo, as part of its engagement with key stakeholders of the election, have been meeting the Electoral Commission to deliberate over preparation so far ahead of the election. First, the EC chairperson has been giving some updates on distribution of ballot papers so far and the biometric verification machines to the various regions ahead of the elections.
And all the ballots, with the exception of the Northern region, the Bono region and the Bono East, have been disseminated to our police armories across the country. I'm well aware that the ballot papers for the Northern region, the Bono and Bono East regions will be disseminated to the police armories this afternoon. It's instructive to note that our biometric verification devices are also being prepared, and we are confident that by this weekend all the biometric verification devices will be safely lodged in the police armories across the country. As we speak, we have over 8 regions. The biometric verification devices have been sent to over 8 regional armories, and they are in safe keeping there.
The EC chair has also been providing updates on the number of persons recruited so far to man the election on December 7.
The Commission has recruited close to 210,000 temporary officials across various categories, from returning officers to deputy returning officers, presiding officers, polling assistants in all the 40,900 plus polling stations across the country.
The IGP said, barring further engagement with the other stakeholders of the election, the police are 95% ready to safeguard the election on December 7.
We've done a lot of work when it came to the printing of the ballots and the transportation of the ballots across the country. And like you rightly indicated, we are 95% done. And with the BVDs, we are also almost 50% done. And looking at the timetable that we are working with, we are sure that within the shortest possible time, over the next couple of days, we'll be done with all this, and all these facilities and logistics will be in place at where it matters.
The National Election Task Force is expected to do other further engagement ahead of the December 7 poll. From the EC headquarters here in Accra, my name is James Aveji, reporting for Joy News.
President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo has denied allegations of lying his way into power. According to him, issues of unstable power supply and slow economic growth, which were main campaign messages, remain factual. The president further reiterated that the country's economy is making a turnaround. And Anaya Ojima was with the president touring parts of the Ashanti region and has filed this report.
The president's speech at the inauguration of the newly constructed bridge at Atafua in the Bantima constituency was characterized by political jabs.
One of the most consequential decisions that Ghanaians are going to make in this generation is a decision that is going to be made on the 7th of December. And we're being told the senior citizens of this country should keep out of that matter. We will not keep out of it. We will not keep out of it.
The president emphasized his campaign to unseat the former president, John Mahama, was based on facts, contrary to opinions expressed by the opposition.
He's saying that in 2016, I came to power, I came to office by telling lies to the Ghanaian people. What are the lies I told? Dumsor was my making. I lied about Dumsor. Did I lie about the 3.4% sluggish rate of growth in Ghana at the time? Were all these lies created by Nana Addo Akufo-Addo? All these were lies. They were hard facts. But if he's trying to find a way to excuse himself for his abysmal failure in 2016, he should find another thing, another story to tell.
He further emphasized the country's economy has been turned around following a dip in the time of COVID-19 pandemic.
The last quarter of the year, the rate of growth of Ghana's GDP was 6.9%, double what it was when he was leaving office in 2016. This is after all the difficulties. Our economy is beginning to pick up.
For Joy News,
Yes,
Kumasi.
I want to invite.
Still in the election headquarters, NPP presidential candidate Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia has pledged his commitment to completing the Agenda 111 hospital project within his first year in office if he wins the 2024 general election. And speaking during a campaign rally at Abosokai in Ablekuma Central constituency, Dr. Bawumia said significant progress has already been made, with some of the hospitals expected to be operational before the end of 2024, creating 70,000 jobs in the process. Here's more.
During his campaign rally at Abosokai, the NPP flag bearer Mahamudu Bawumia assured Ghanaians that he will prioritize the completion of the Agenda 111 project within his first year in office if he secures victory in the 2024 general election. The vice president added that the project will create 70,000 jobs for healthcare professionals, further addressing unemployment and enhancing the country's healthcare workforce.
Choboy, and the Agenda 111 abba, you see 111 hospitals. Ebi see that. Ebi this year. How can you be next year? You be for NIPA, nurses, doctors, and health personnel. 70,000 people will be recruited into the National Health Service under Agenda 111. Choboy.
He told the enthusiastic crowd that he will introduce a flat rate tax system at the port to ease the financial burden on importers.
With the new import duty regime, and then a flat rate import duty regime. Flat rate in ASEAN is saying, with the spare parts, Bagana. A 40-foot container, flat rate, also a 20,000 cities, a 20,000 cities, a bedua, ubetria, 20,000 cities flat.
Earlier, the MPP flag bearer had a meet and greet at the Malamata market and proceeded to the Hebron Prayer Center in the Nsawema-Dwejiri constituency, where he urged the Christian community to intercede on his behalf to win the elections and continue the free SHS policy and other initiatives implemented by the MPP.
Nyame Bible mu OUC Cyrus Ebua Israel for Mimi Sumiji di say Nyame obetime use Dr. Bawumia Abua Ghana for Ewa Ghana ha. If you were Trini Ejuma Yabedi Ewa Ghana ha. Mereno Esu say Yenye Mashebe for any Omampini Fufro. Me pese mo time echi any empire na me be Ghana Omampini.
Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia's tour of the Greater Accra region is expected to continue tomorrow.
Moving on, former Minister of Interior and Member of Parliament for Nandom, Ambrose Dery, has suggested that the admission of the national chairman of the NDC, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, that he has brought developments to Nandom, clearly an endorsement of the continuation of his tenure. Asiedu Nketia, at a retail campaign in Nandom, said the MP has recruited a lot of people into the security services and must be rewarded for it. He was, however, quick to point out that he will be less effective under the government of Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia should the NPP win the presidential post. Ambrose Dery disagrees and insists Nandom is yet to see his full potential. Joy News Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam reports.
National Chairman of the NDC, Johnson Asidu Nketie, as part of his retail campaign tour of the Upper West region, visited Nandom to garner support for the party's presidential candidate, John Mahama, and the parliamentary candidate for Nandom, Richard Kuere, describing the former Interior Minister and Nandom Member of Parliament, Ambrose Dery, as a very good friend who to a very large extent has developed Nandom and recruited many people into the security services. He noted, however, that the time has come for him to take a bow from the Nandom parliamentary seat for another calling.
Akufo-Addo has 2 weeks for his term to expire. He's already an expired president. And so if your source of authority is from an expired president, then it means that you have also lost your legitimacy.
Ambrose Dery, however, rejected his call, stating that Johnson Asidu Nketie's effusive statements is an admission of endorsing his candidature.
That was clearly an admission that he expects me to continue, because if I've done what is good for my people, why should I rest for an older person to come and take over? A person who hasn't shown sacrifice for our people and only came to represent them when he went on retirement, not me.
Upper West Region Minister Stephen Yakubu, who represented Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, elaborated on the achievements of the government through Ambrose Dery.
Casting our minds back to the deplorable nature of Nandom roads when compared to current situation, we can all attest to the fact that under our administration, Nandom road network is unmatched in the entire Upper West region.
Reporting for Joy News, Rafiq Salam, Nandom.
Election Headquarters is brought to you by Petrosol Platinum Energy, Energizing Dreams, Chopbox Technology, a convenient service, German Ozone Medical Center, Alternative Therapy, Dental, Wellness and Beauty, the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants (CIMA), and the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants (AICPA), together as the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants, Youth Bridge Foundation, bridging the gaps for positive youth development, Syntex Tanks, Air Strong, Air Tough, Potential Real Estate, your trusted partner in real estate, Deluxe Paint, Paints Mu Champion.
And away from our election headquarters, the Food and Drugs Authority has expressed its readiness to undergo audits by both local and international bodies to validate its actions regarding the alleged distribution of unwholesome rice to senior high schools. The authority maintains that all approvals granted adhere strictly to best practices and regulatory standards. The FDA emphasized its commitment to transparency and public health safety amidst ongoing scrutiny of the issue. The authority has been under pressure for failing to do due diligence before extending the best before date for over 22,000 bags of rice imported from Laments Africa Limited. Notongo MP Samuel Kujeto Ablakwa, who first raised the alarm, claims documents reveal the rice was initially recommended for destruction.
But I have an internal FDA memo dated 29 December where the FDA's original roadmap was that 1, let's move in to stop the rebagging. 2, let us dispose of the rice, destroy the rice. And then 3, fine this company 150,000. It is shocking that when the Laments directors were arrested on the 20th of December, a lot of miracles happened. Calls from above released them. Then you remember the letter I read from JJ Boy, the superintendent in charge of crime from Ashanti, where he had sent samples to FDA. Will you believe that before these FDA test results will arrive on the 6th of February, an order came from above that the rice should be sent to our school. So all 22,000 bags were removed from the NAFCO storage facility and distributed to our kids.
Bags of rice that were under investigation by the FDA.
And I have here the FDA report which came on the 6th. And if they had waited for this FDA report, they wouldn't have shared the rice, because the FDA report confirms that, quote, presence of insect does not conform to the compliance statement. And this is signed by Marian Vivian Hammond, Marian A. Okome, Joseph Ufosusiao. Yeah, insects.
They found insects
in the rice.
Which was then distributed to children.
Which had been distributed.
Okay.
By the 2nd of February, 1st and 2nd February, they had distributed this. Then the rice also had high fat acidity. So the rice was unwholesome and should not. I have given this to doctors. Medical doctors have told me that, look, this should not have been fed to our students.
Now, political parties pledge to prioritize clean air if they win elections, as researchers warn of the impacts of the worsening air quality situation in the country. Public transport, especially trotros, are one of Ghana's biggest polluters. At a Joy News Clean Air Dialogue here in Accra, political parties promised to incentivize drivers to switch to new electric vehicles and make local actors more accountable. There's more in the following report.
Lives annually, with children and the elderly most at risk. Research links rising asthma cases in kids under 5 to urbanization and dusty, unpaved schools. Dr. Sandra Kwatin Owusu explains.
We've just released a paper which is showing that for adolescents 12 to 14 years, 16% of them that we screened in Kumasi actually reported asthma symptoms. That's massive because in the last 20 years, we were around 5%. So if we've climbed up to 16%, that is concerning.
Vice Dean of the UCC School of Public Health, Professor Kofi Amega says air pollution is a critical area of concern that needs immediate attention.
We have a ticking time bomb. Air pollution is a very critical public health problem and needs solutions. And in his initial submissions, Mr. Appiah talked about political will. And the political will is very critical to addressing air quality in the Ghana landscape.
Bridge City's portfolio manager, Dr. Elvis Giabo, called for a rethink in funding allocation to tackle air pollution.
Countries in Africa in 2022 got 1/3 of all the funding that goes to a single country in Asia. So Philippines got $4.5 billion for air quality funding. The whole of Africa in 2022 got $1.5 billion. What it means is that there is uneven resource allocation for addressing air quality. We need to rethink of how we are allocating resources to address air pollution globally and then internally as a country.
With the December 2024 polls approaching, Desmond Appiah of Clean Air Fund urged political parties to prioritize reducing air pollution, particularly in urban areas. He was speaking at the Clean Air Dialogue organized in collaboration with Clean Air Fund and Bridge Cities.
What we are looking for is for deliberate, focused, intentional policies and actions that would have the potential to solve the challenges of our time, employment and the like, but would improve the quality of air, mitigate climate change, and help us to live better lives.
Political parties pledge to prioritize clean air if they win the election. Deputy Director of Policy for the Movement for Change, Courage Nobi, said they will tighten laws on air pollution.
A policy that ensures that we move away gradually towards clean energy solutions is also on the banner, such that even in local small production capacity businesses, we have them depend not on continuous burning of fossil fuel, but clean sources of energy like solar.
CPP's Ashanti Regional Secretary Issa Abdul Salam says they will incentivize public transport owners to replace old polluting vehicles with climate-friendly ones.
We want to reduce emissions from our vehicles. By doing that, it's under our government, we are trying to bring in a relief for those tractor drivers to be replaced with new cars on a higher purchase, so that all these cars who are 30 years and 40 years plus will be taken out on the motorways.
Clean Air Fund also launched a clean air manual to guide political parties.
Together with my colleague from Clean Air Fund, we duly declared this brochure launch.
Regardless of who wins the election, decisive action will be needed to tackle air pollution. For Joy News, Michael Ashale.
Let's get into our business update now. Now, for our first business story, the LPG Marketers Association has made a fresh appeal to the National Petroleum Authority to reconsider the module for the implementation of the cylinder recirculation policy, arguing the approach being developed is wrong. According to the marketers, the direction at which the NPA is going with the policy will defeat its intended purpose. Vice President of the LPG Marketers Association, Gabriel Kumi, is thus calling for a complete overhaul of the CRM policy, and he spoke to Joy Business.
For NPA, I think they've reached their wit end, and if the ministry doesn't take this up and try to give the policy a new direction, I don't think the way the NPA is going, we are going to have any successful rollout of CRM. Like I said, the official rollout was done 2 years ago. And do you see any CRM being done in Ghana? They are out there talking and engagement, continue to waste resources on this. But the approach is wrong. We don't have any problem with government introducing a policy. But when that policy is being done and is not being done well, we have every right as industry players to speak up, and that is what we've been doing.
And stakeholders within the human resource and educational sectors are stressing on the need for more innovation to bridge the gap between academia and industry with respect to information, communication, and technology. Founder of the Virtual Career Office, Ikia Ampa, said this is necessary in the fight against unemployment in the country. She spoke to Joy Business at the 4th edition of the Tertiary Unlocked initiative.
What we hope to do with this program is to support young people, make the most out of their tertiary journey so that they can transition successfully out of tertiary. We've been doing this for 4 years. And so far it's been very good. We've had students get mentorship opportunities out of this program, and of course getting the students get the right career support, and then also make informed career decisions because of the discussions or the conversations that we have with these young people. We hope to use this program to bridge the gap between senior high school and tertiary transition, and also from tertiary to the world of work. So you realize that I said 2 groups of people that we are targeting. That is the senior high school graduates and then the tertiary students. So transitioning from high school to tertiary and from tertiary to the world of work. What I would say is just put yourself out there, do something to discover who you are. Because when you know who you are, you're able to make the most out of life.
Well, that ends the AM News Bulletin on the AM show. You want to stay with us because the news review segment comes right up, and we will be joined by Dr. Kwame Asante. He's head for the Center of European Studies at the University of Ghana. We'll be back in a bit.